let's talk about the major, the big thing at the end of the year that we've been talking about for like 3 weeks. The America's RMR happened, and it's very different than we expected. So it started the day that we recorded on Tuesday last week, and it was over by Friday. And I don't think that you and I could have guessed what had happened here.
No, so one thing I will say is we did say something along the lines of, no, but like they're actually quite good about wildcard.
We did say that.
I was quite big on like, no, they're actually decent. Like they're no mugs. And they went through 3-0. I mean, they were 2-0 at the time I said it, so I was kind of hedging my bets a little bit. But then they won their best of three against
Pain.
Is it 9Z?
Oh, 9Z.
Yeah, 9Z. Yeah, I mean, they just waltzed through.
And they looked good in that too. Like, they beat Pain, they beat Liquid in overtime, and beating they were the only team to beat Liquid this tournament.
They were also the only team to beat Pain.
Yeah, Pain was really good.
Pain and Liquid both only lost to Wildcard.
Wildcard is just better, man.
Yeah, but they had a really tough run.
Yeah, so it was Liquid into Pain into 9Z, and we had you and I, when we did our separate episode on everything you need to know about the major, put Liquid as the 5th best team.
Yeah, I would say you put Liquid as the 5th best.
I put Liquid as the 5th best team, but say that they're a top 8 team, which I feel quite confident in saying.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Wildcard beating them to start out, Pain's probably, top 15?
Yeah.
That showing up.
They're top 15 and they're not in the top 10. But,
no. 9Z's like a plucky top 30 team. That's reasonable.
I mean, I quite like 9Z. I mean, they didn't do themselves any favours this RMR, I'll say that.
No, they didn't.
But, like, normally I think of 9Z as, like, hovering around the 20th in the world, I would say. I mean, I quite rate 9Z. I think they have a lot more ability than people think.
I think they're just generally they're very landlocked. They don't go to many.
Yeah, I think that's
events.
kind of the problem. They're landlocked in terms of they can't go to that many events and they can't consistently change players for similar reasons.
All right, so let's chat about this. So America's bracket, the 3-0 teams, Wildcard and MIBR.
Yeah, fine.
MIBR is a very reasonable team that you could have maybe guessed 3-0 because in your head you go, well, Liquid and Furia will both lose a game, so someone's got to be 3-0.
Yeah, like, the thing with MIBR is they're going to let you down when the real games start, but they're pretty good domestically.
Yeah. So they will both go directly to the Legend stage. And then the 3-1 teams were Team Liquid, Complexity, and Pain. So far, other than Wildcard, we're basically where we expected to be.
Yeah, and I'll say I wasn't that surprised by Wildcard making it through.
No.
I was a bit surprised when they're going 3-0, but having watched them at ESL Challenger, I was like, these guys aren't terrible. Like they can play.
So then we get to the 3-2 team. So let's start with talking about the teams that were 2-2 to fight for 3-2, because not only did you have to be 3-2, you had to be 3-2 with the highest score to go through, and then 3-2 and win a 7th, 8th decider, because there's only 7 spots.
Yeah.
So the 2-2 teams were 9Z and Furia, which Furia won.
Yeah.
Imperial, Red Canids, which Imperial won.
Rest in peace, Henny.
And M80 Bestia, which M80 won. That was the only 3-mapper of of those best of 3s.
Yeah, surprisingly.
Yeah, so after Imperial beat Red Canids, I believe it was determined that their schedule was the hardest, I think is how it worked.
I'm not 100% sure how it worked, to be honest. I was just kind of enjoying the chaos without really understanding it.
Yeah, so one of these teams automatically went through.
Automagically?
Yeah, it's a great word. Automatically went through. It's the Buchholz score, which has to do with...
Right.
So it's wins minus losses of everyone they've beaten.
Right.
So they beat Case, who had a -3, but they beat they played Case, they played MIBR, which canceled. There's some.
I know I say this a lot, but this is utter woke nonsense.
Oh, just get
the Buchholz system.
Don't have it
woke.
be 7 teams.
Yeah, just
stupid.
Unseeded Swiss is better than Buchholz.
Don't
have 8 teams. Just have more teams. Well, just have more teams at the major.
Yeah.
Why not? 8 teams from RMR A in Europe, 8 teams from RMR B in Europe, 8 teams from Americas, 8 teams from Asia.
Isn't that... How did we...
There's like 3 from Asia, 7 from the Americas, 14 from Europe. I want...
Well,
that is
30
30
teams.
Yeah.
Wait.
I've sold.
Where's the... Somewhere we've done something. It's 7 plus 7. It's 14 from Europe plus 7 from the Americas.
Yeah, there's not 32 yet. There's 32 for the next one. There's not 32
supposedly
yet.
32 for the... okay. Well, that's dumb. Give us 32 now. Thanks.
Because there's 16 in the first stage and then 8 in the second stage already. So
That's
it's 24 that go through,
it's
right?
24. Just give us 32. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
There was 32, 16 from Europe, 8 from Asia, 8 from Americas. Trust me.
I'm here for that. I'm so down for it. So that means Imperial went through 3-2 without having to play in the 7-8 decider. Furia and M80 both played in the 7-8 decider. In a best of 3, and Furia won 13-8 across the first 2 maps, meaning M80 will not make the major. Furia make it by the absolute skin of their goddamn teeth.
Yeah,
Which
but
is a
also
stupid
like
phrase, but
no, it's more that like being 3-2 is normally enough to go through. But like you've got through, like they haven't got through. But it's more like M80 are out by the skin of their teeth. Furia deserved to go through because they were 3-2. Like that's to me, it's like you're through.
I mean, so were M80. They were also 3-2.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. It's not that Furia got through. Luckily, it's like M80 are unlucky to go out. That's how I
do
feel
say
about it.
I'm quite annoyed that we didn't get M80 stickers because I like the M80. I like the old M80 logo. The new M80 logo, I'm a little whatever about.
Yeah.
I am a little continued to be annoyed that we don't just have 8 teams and we have this stupid 7-8 game.
Yeah, it would just make more sense, wouldn't it? It would just be better for everyone.
Like, obviously, these teams are good enough that they went 3-2. They won the 3 games. Why do we have to make another fucking... okay, so teams that went out then. 9Z, Bestia, and Red Canids. They were on the 2-3. In the 1-3, Boss, Crew, and Legacy. And in the 0-3, we probably knew this last week, Case and Nouns. Nouns looked terrible this tournament.
Nouns have been terrible for a while, to be honest.
Yeah.
They used to be half decent. Like, they used to be what... I used to think Nouns were what Wildcard are. Like, a plucky, like, American-ish team. I mean, they are American. Wildcard aren't really. But, like, a plucky NA-based team who have the ability to beat anyone in the region, but also, you know, they don't do it consistently enough to be as good as to be the best team there, but they had the capability of being like the 5th best team in the region. Right, that's like what Wildcard are. It's what I thought Nouns were, but Nouns never had an event like Wildcard just had.
Yeah, they were not particularly great that event. I continue to believe that George needs a real shout on a real North American team, because even though they were bad, he was good. Supposedly
with George Schnortz. I'll always call him George Schnortz.
Yeah.
The problem is his communication rather than his skill, because he is skilled.
He is quite good at the video game. Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
so,
he's talented.
What more do we need to talk about here? Is there anything more we need to touch on with the America's RMR? This went, other than I would say wild card, this went probably as basically everyone watching expected.
I'll say we talked quite highly about Legacy and Dumao, and then they absolutely shit the bed after beating Furia.
They did do that.
And 9Z went from 0-2 to 2-0 to 2-3 without winning a map. That's also bad.
They did have quite a difficult run there. I don't know if you saw it. So
yeah,
wildcard
Pain Furia.
Wildcard Pain Furia. That's tough.
Yeah, I mean, once you lose a wildcard, you kind of doom yourself in that situation, unfortunately.
Yeah, but they did have a tough loss run there.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But you have 3 chances. You got to win one of them. You got to at least win a map. Come on.
M80, I think, probably should have made the major. They lost that first round against Boss, and I think that screwed them up for the entire way.
Yeah.
They were able to beat Nouns. They lost to Liquid. They beat Boss again. Oh no, sorry, I'm looking at Bestia. They lost to Boss. They beat Red Canids. They beat Legacy. They lose to Complexity, which is an expected thing. They beat Bestia.
Well, M80 did what you'd expect them to do, which is go 3-2.
Yeah.
It's just that's not enough in this weird system. They then had to play Furia, who like
Kind of.
you're gonna lose to Furia. Furia domestically are a beast. I mean, I know they went 3-2, so they weren't that good, but like they lost a Liquid and they lost a best of one to Legacy. It's like you don't want to play Furia in a best of 3 for qualification if you're an American team. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And I think there were good signs for M80 there, other than Swisher, who kind of looked like garbage this event.
I mean, friend of the podcast, Swisher.
Friend of the podcast, Swisher.
Let's not be too mean.
No, I'm sorry, Swisher. Lake looked great.
Yeah, I mean, Lake always looks good. Like
I know, but
I don't know where they found him from. He's so good. The thing is, like, Malbs, everyone kind of knew was good. Like, everyone who'd watched Malbs knew he was good. There are people who say, "Oh, he doesn't do it," whatever. Like people who watched him twice a year thought he was bad. Don't give a shit about them. Everyone who watched Malbs play knew he was good. Nobody seemed to know Lake was good. So like they found Malbs, and it's like, yeah, well done. I could have told you that. But then they found Lake, and I'm like, all right, yeah, I'm listening. I'm listening. You've got you know something I don't.
I was unfamiliar with your game.
I was unfamiliar with your scouting game.